Welcome, I'm the Deadwood Jedi. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we are going to be talking about rare healers in this game. I know it's a little bit of an unusual subject, and most people probably don't even need one. If you're early enough levels, there's other ways to get your healing that might be better for what you're trying to do. And as you get later on, there's obviously epic and legendary champions that are available, but there are three healers, that I think everybody should have leveled up to 60 that are rare champions. And so we're definitely going to cover those. And then I'm going to want to cover a few other champions as well that I think have some interesting capabilities as being champions you might want to take all the way up to 60. Maybe not all of them. Probably not all of them, but definitely some of them can be interesting for you depending on what kinds of areas of the game you're looking for help in. And I think they're all, pretty interesting champions and pretty good. Now, before we get into that, I do want to talk a little bit about just how healing works in this game, so you have an understanding of that, because it's very different from other games I've played, and it definitely takes a back seat as far as the importance of things, as far as what you want to bring into your team and what you need to utilize for your squads to be successful in different areas. But with stuff like Hydra, with the Doom Tower, healing is more important in those areas than it has been for things like campaign or even dungeon runs. So keeping this in mind and looking about that, I figured we'd go ahead and talk about it. Also, one of the reasons why I want to talk about it is because we're getting Operdin, right? Operdin's, many of us have finished the fusion. Some of us are just finishing it. I'm ready. I'm, waiting to pull my guy till CVC starts, but it's a pretty cool, he's a really good healer. And so I thought we'd look at some alternative stuff for your team. So with that said, let's look at the champions. Okay, you might be thinking I'm starting off with Chaplain. I'm not. So this is actually an example of somebody you don't want to take as a healer, because like I said, there's different ways you can heal. Now, everybody can always put on lifesteal gear on your champions. It's a great way to do it, especially early levels where you don't really have the room to bring in a dedicated healer. Maybe probably not even the stats to make one that can survive whatever comes at them. So a lot of times you have to find ways to make your attackers survive, heal themselves. And so lifesteal can be a great option. Leech as a debuff is another way to do that. And those are two really good options that we can use not only early levels, but late levels as well to heal your team and are really effective. But sometimes some healers are good. Now, Chaplain here does some things that I think you need to look out for when you're looking for a healer. These are things that generally are not going to be beneficial for you, right? One of them is healing based off of attack. Now, this is our healer. We want them to survive and to be tanky and to be able to take hits so that they can heal everybody else, keep everybody else alive. So basing a heal off of attack stats is not good. And that's what this does, right? Its heal is proportional to the amount of this champion's attack. And that becomes problematic because now you're trying to build another stat on top of it, and one that won't help you keep alive. It just does damage, or in this case, heals. It is kind of counterintuitive. It's not synergistic with the rest of the team, with the rest of the kit, specifically with the role of this champion supposed to be playing. So that really limits the potential of this. Another thing to keep in mind is skills like this that do healing based off of the damage inflicted. Unless you can do a lot of damage, it's going to really limit the amount of heal that you can get done, right? So it becomes pretty tricky, right? Especially, this is also very dependent, right? Do you have decreased defense out? Do you have weaken out? That's going to maximize the damage you're dealing, which in turn would maximize the healing. But if you can't bring that in, then all of a sudden you're getting a lot less out of that. Plus, how many turns is it taking to have this thing? There's a lot of things to consider. So this is one of those examples of champions I would not look at healing. Now, there are legendary champions that do this. Raglan's a great example of a champion that does her heal based off of attack, but she's an amazing healer. The ratios are good. The modifiers are really nice. So in that situation, it works specifically for her. Do I still like that as a part of her kit? No, I don't. Still doesn't synergize well. There's also champions that deal based off the damage they do. Lugan the Steadfast is an example of that, but he's another legendary champion. So you can build him, a lot easier to build him with attack and crit rate and crit damage and really maximize that. Plus it's an AoE, plus it's an A1 skill, and it's a passive ability that does that healing. So you don't have to, worry about it just being one skill. That's a heal you can do regularly, right? Very, very different kind of situation. So, Battle Khazar is another example of that, but Battle Khazar's healing isn't really based off his attack. That's like a secondary heal for him. Most of his healing comes from the continuous heals he puts out. So, there are champions that do those things and can still be good. But as far as that being a good healing ability, I have to say no, it's not. And so for champions like Battle Khazar, I don't build him to deal damage ever because the heal based off of that isn't going to be significant. So a champion like Chaplain, especially as a rare champion, isn't going to do near that kind of damage, is not somebody I would focus on. On the other hand, a champion like Mother Superior is an excellent healer. She's not on my list, generally because, the rest of her kit doesn't really lend itself to being a must max to 60 champion. Although, I think that is somebody that you could do that. But basically, like her A2 here has a 30% chance to heal, or heals one ally 30% of this champion's max HP. Now, this is something you definitely want to pay attention to. Is the heal based off of this champion's HP that's casting the heal, or is it based off the receiver, the person that the healee, the person getting healed's max HP? That can make a big difference. If I'm trying to heal my damage dealer, my nuker, who's only got say 25,000 HP, versus basing that heal off of my Mother Superior, who I've built really tanky with 60,000 HP, well, you can see how that's going to make a big difference depending on what person that heals based off of. So this is actually a really nice kind of skill here as a single target heal. She also has an AoE heal with a continuous heal buff. And now, there's two different continuous heals, 15%, 7.5%. This is the 7.5%, which isn't great, but she also gives a shield buff, right? Equal to the target's HP for all allies, right? So, this is not the best thing in the world, but she has some good healing skills within her kit, right? The way she goes about healing is the right way to do it. So, all that said, let me talk about the champions that I think are just going to be really, really good healers for you. These are champions you're going to want to look out for, and then I'll show you the 3 that are must level to 60s at the end. Now, one thing to keep in mind when we're talking about these rare champions, they're not going to have exceptional healing, right? Everything's got a scale. So the epics seem to be better than the rares, legendaries better than the epics. So the healing with these champions is not going to be exceptional. So keeping that in mind, the champions we want to look out for are those with incredible passive abilities or that bring other really great skills to the table. That makes them worth leveling up because now they're going to be useful later on in this game. Now, Michaelis here, the Mushroom Man, is one champion that I would definitely keep an eye out on. Not only is he in a faction that can use a champion like him in the Ogrein tribe, he has a really nice passive ability which reduces the damage all allies receive by 5%. He takes that instead. That can be really nice. In addition to that, he's got an ally protection ability, and that's not a common ability to have, especially as a rare champion, especially on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. And what's really great about this is it actually turns itself into a really nice heal as well. So first off, gives himself a shield equal to 20% of his max HP. We talked about that. That's huge. You can build him really tanky and benefit from that. And then places the smaller version, 25% ally protection on all allies. The bonus part is it also heals all allies by 10% of his max HP. So he's giving himself a shield. He's healing all of his allies based off his own HP and giving him ally protection. A really, really nice skill ability. I definitely like that. And on his A1, he basically has built-in lifesteal with a 30% heal off of the damage he inflicts. Again, not my favorite thing, but on an A1 skill to heal himself, that's not a bad ability, right? Also heals the ally with the lowest HP by 10% of his max HP. So not only is he giving himself that heal, but he's healing another one of his allies that's a little bit lower on the time. This is actually a really, really nice kit. This is somebody I'm looking to build up to 60 and just haven't yet. But I feel like this is a really nice synergistic kit. I love the ally protection. This is somebody where if I was starting off in Clan Boss and I really only had rare champions to work with, he might be somebody I'd bring in to help keep my team alive. Now, is he going to be able to heal your team all by himself? Probably not, right? None of those heals are enough to really keep your whole team alive for the entirety of a fight. But he does bring a lot to the table that I think you want to pay attention to and keep an eye out for as you're going forward and say, hey, this might be a champion that can really fit my team, especially in Faction Wars. It's going to be really good. Now we get to one of my favorite champions in this game, Abyssal, the troll himself. I just think he looks super cool. But he has a pretty solid heal ability. Not crazy good, but very solid. But also brings a lot of other interesting things with his kit. Not to mention, he's got this A1 ability, which is a block buffs AoE skill. It's a very low chance to land, but it is AoE. That is really nice, being able to have an AoE on the A1 skill. It's definitely something that I like a lot. His A3 skill gives increased defense and increased attack to all allies. It's very rare. There's only like 2 or 3 other champions that actually place both those buffs at the same time on all your allies. So this is a really, really nice ability here. Fortune cooldown is not great, but considering he's a rare champion, I like that a lot. And then his A2 is the big one, right? It's an AoE heal, 15% of every ally's HP. So it's their HP, it's not his, which is less good, but it is still AoE. What makes him somebody that he also has, speed, ally speed, and faction crypts. Now, faction crypts is where I would use him. I think that is the preeminent spot to use him. I do have mine at level 60. I don't really find a lot of usage in most areas of this game, but Faction Wars is definitely a good spot to have him, is Demon Spawn. But one of the interesting things about his kit is he brings so much to the table as a support champion, right? Block buffs. Putting that on the enemy is always good. Increased defense and increased attack for your allies is really good. And then on top of that brings that heal ability, right? As a full kit, I think this is a very good champion, somebody worth bringing up to 60. Definitely not your first choice by any means, but as a rare champion, I think very good for that. Can really help round out your squad, especially for something like Faction Wars if you're struggling there. But that heal is pretty solid, right? It's not enough to keep your full team alive all the way through the fight if you're taking damage every turn. But in conjunction with the rest of your team, I think could be really, really good. And this is somebody that I definitely would keep an eye on. Just like I would keep an eye on Abyssal, I would also keep an eye on Avir the Archmage. This is another champion that I actually have is level 60. Very, very good. He has a little poison on the A1s, kind of whatever. He's got an AoE decreased attack. It is a small one, but that is really useful. I mean, you talk about healing. Well, one way to kind of heal is to take less damage. Decreased attack is a great way to do that. Also can place the decreased speed if the poison's out there, so he can synergize really well with other champions. And then the big thing is this last skill here, and this actually makes him an amazing healer for your team. He gives your whole team a turn meter fill, 15%. That's always really good. But then on top of that, heals all allies 15% of his max HP. Again, we were talking about the difference between his max HP versus your allies. This makes this heal much stronger. Definitely a champion I like a lot. Now, again, nobody at the rare level is going to be able to keep your whole team alive as a solo healer. That's just not practical. But what they can do is, if you can combine them with one other person, that can work. And with a heal that strong, that's something that can be life-saving for you. On top of the turn meter boost, which means you're getting more turns again and again. It is on a 4-turn cooldown, so being able to get extra turns with that turn meter fill is really helpful for that. But this is a champion I definitely like. I got mine up to 60. I'm not saying that you need it, but if you're struggling with Faction Wars, I think this would be an excellent champion to bring up as well. And then we get to one of the stranger champions. This was a champion that I brought up to 60 specifically for Bommel the Dreadhorn. If you don't know, Master Butcher is absolutely insane against that boss. Absolutely insane. Typically, I wouldn't say, hey, this is a healing champion for you, but because of his passive abilities, he becomes exceedingly good against Bommel, and I think can be useful in other areas of the game as a result. Now, it depends where you bring him. He's not going to be great everywhere, and so it's very situational. Many of you won't ever level him up, and some of you will take him to 60 and never be sorry about it, right? It's going to depend on your own account, but he's got 2 crazy passive abilities. The one I want to talk about first is Heat Exchange. When attacked, heals all allies equal to the amount of damage taken. So, build him with a lot of HP. Defense, maybe or maybe not, because the damage that he takes, he's healing his allies for that same amount. That's crazy strong. The problem is, it doesn't work against bosses, but against, people like Bommel with these adds that do crazy damage, those bombs that explode, that's not the boss. That's a support, enemy. So when that attacks him, he's going to heal his allies for that damage. That's where he becomes exceedingly useful. He also has this kind of cool revive where when he dies, he revives a random ally with full HP. That's not to be underestimated, I would say. He's got a lot of provoke stuff on his A2, on his A1, so he's kind of trying to make the enemies attack him. This passive healing ability can pair really well with other healers and can make him extremely good depending on the area that you're using him in. Pretty much, I think Baumel is going to be the one spot where he's absolutely insane for. Other than that, he's probably not going to be of a huge use for you in most things that you do. Perhaps if you're going through stuff like campaign, that could be useful, but again, I would pretty much be like, I'm struggling against Baumel the Dreadhorn. Master Butcher might be the kind of healer that you need for that and that alone. Like when those bombs go up, he heals my entire team up to full, which is pretty nuts. And then we get to the 3 healers I feel everybody should have up to level 60. These are the ones that I have on my account. And we're going to start with Apothecary because Apothecary is insane. Not only does he give you that incredible speed boost, which is really his calling card, but the thing that gets overlooked a lot is his heal. It's a 35% heal, but this heal can crit. If you can build him with a 100% crit rate, that 35% is more like a 50% heal, and that's going to be on whichever target ally he wants to heal. Because it's on it's actually on a 2-turn cooldown, which is insane. And he's got this boon of speed on a 3-turn cooldown. That generally will gate when you can use this skill, but it comes up a lot because he goes fast. He makes your entire team go faster with the speed boost, the turn meter boost, and the speed buff. You're getting this heal quite a bit, and he can pretty much keep your team alive by himself. Great for dungeon runs. Good for arena. He's pretty much great everywhere you're going to want to use him. When you pull him, it's like pulling an epic champion, like a top tier epic champion. He's phenomenal. I remember when I was first starting, I had a arena run, and literally I got stuck against a solo Apothecary because he was going so fast, healing himself, and then hitting my team. It was the most frustrating fight I've ever been in. This guy can be exceedingly good if you build him fast, if you build him with 100% crit rate. That heal can be just absolutely insane and happen over and over again. The next champion is Reliquary Tender, notoriously great in this game, really good everywhere from Ice Golems to Doom Tower. I use mine in the Nether Spider. She's absolutely phenomenal there, and it primarily comes down to her A2 and A3. Like her A1 is decreased attack on the A1, pretty solid skill, right? Nothing to write home about. If I'd never booked it, it would be fine. The big one is this A2 though. 3-turn cooldown. It's a full cleanse for all allies and puts a continuous heal buff on them. Now, the continuous heal is obviously not a huge healing ability, but an AoE cleanse combined with that can be massive for your team. On top of that, has a revive, right? 30% HP, 30% turn meter for one ally, and that is 5-turn cooldown when booked. That combination is really good. She's a top tier healer reviver. I have mine, and I use her all the time in Doom Tower for my Nether Spider. I use her in a lot of places. I build her fast, and I build her tanky, and she does incredible work for me. This is definitely somebody that you want to keep in mind as a healer for you, and leveling her up to 60 is worth it, right? Just even if it's simply for that AoE cleanse, that in itself is a really hard ability to come by, not to mention the revive on top of that. She's very good. Definitely outclassed by some epics and legendaries out there, but I find her to be exceedingly good, and when I can use a rare instead of an epic or a legendary, that's great because that means I now freed up that other champion to be used in other areas of the game, whether that's Hydra, Doom Tower, Clan Boss, or even Arena. It's really nice to be able to do that, and Reliquary Tender definitely allows me to. The last champion we're going to talk about is Painkeeper. This is the other champion I 100% say get to level 60. Now, most people use Painkeeper for, their Bat Eater teams, for their budget unkillable teams in Clan Boss, something like that. But I find she's really good in things like Faction Wars. Just an incredibly good champion. And it comes down to her skills, right? There's such great synergy with this one. A1, 10% turn meter boost. Love it. Make her go faster, right? Get these cooldowns happening quicker. A2, this is her heal, and this is such a nice heal. If you actually build her as a healer, this is an incredibly strong heal. Heals all allies by 15% of this champion's max HP. It's an AoE attack, It heals everybody based off her HP. So if you actually build her for, other content, you build her with a lot of HP, this could be a really, really large heal for your entire team. And you get a lot of little extra bonuses in it, right? Now, remember all these little heals that come in off skills. This 5% here, 5% there, 10%, 15%. This is an extra, 35%? This is not, it's not like adding 35 to this number here. It's not like this 15% becomes 40. It's not how it works. It multiplies based off that. So it's 35% of that 15%. That makes sense? So if this 15%, let's make that like the number 100, right? If that heal was for 100 heal units, and we were getting another 35%, it would then become a heal of 135 units. If that makes sense. So, but basically what this does is it turns this 15% heal into about a 20% heal for your allies. That's very significant. As an AoE heal for a rare champion, that's a very significant heal. And it's based off of her HP, which is crazy. So if you can build her with a lot of HP, that can become really, really significant. I think building a champion like this to, say, 60,000 HP is not unreasonable if that's like her goal, right? You build her fast and with a lot of HP, 60,000 is, I think, pretty reasonable. That's like 18,000 heals. Like, is that about right? No, 12,000. It's like healing 12,000 points for all HP for all of your allies on that. That's a pretty significant heal right there. It's definitely something, for many of your champions, that's going to be a third of their HP, right? That's a really significant amount. Very good. And then, of course, she has combat tactics, which decreases the cooldowns of ally skills, right? That's also a really nice ability right there. So all in all, like, it's just a very good kit and works really well. This is why this is a champion that you build. Doesn't matter if you're talking for clan boss or you're talking outside of clan boss. She can be an amazing, amazing healer overall for your entire team. So definitely somebody that I would be, I would take the 60 and be very happy with. So those are the best healers I think are available in the rarity of champions for you guys. Definitely, I think Apothecary, Reliquary Tender, and Painkeeper are 100% champions that are worth taking up to level 60. Doesn't necessarily mean they're the first person you should do that with. But if, you don't have any questions of like, do I or do I not, these are champions I definitely think you should. And then there's a bunch of other interesting ones, right? Like, Abyssal or Master Butcher, that could be really interesting for you. Avir, the Archmage, situationally, that might work out really well for you as some kind of healers or healer types that you can level up to 60 and I think be okay with that, be pretty happy with that in the end. I'm sure I missed somebody though. I'm sure there's some champions out there that you guys absolutely love. If there are, please let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Did I get this wrong? Is there somebody in here where you're like, this guy's trash? What are you talking about? Go ahead and let me know that. I'm never 100%. Just give you my best assessment that I can do from my own experiences. But there's lots of people that play this game, and we all play it a little bit differently. So it's not inconceivable that one of you might have a completely different experience than myself with one of these champions. So, or somebody that I didn't even mention out there. I'd love to be able to hear from you guys. Is Mother Superior worth leveling up to 60? I'm all ears. I never did, but I could be wrong. Anyway, guys, thanks for stopping by. Till next we meet, I'm the Deadwood Jedi.